Fancy meeting you here again. So capitalism, right? This economic system called capitalism. Guys, what I want you to do here is have a look at these different pillars of capitalism, and then what we're going to do is we're going to discuss what each one of them is, like supply and demand, self-reliance, etc. And then what we're going to do is discuss why it's important. And the why it's important is the important part, oddly enough, okay? So let's go through these, and hopefully we're not going to make this be like a 20-minute video, although I can never promise that it won't be. Okay, let's talk supply and demand. Now, guys, I'm going over this because whatever you don't happen to have, make sure you get down what I mentioned, okay? I want to make sure that you understand these, because an understanding of capitalism in Social 30 is critical to success, depending upon the topic that you get in 30-1 or 30-2. And by the way, I made this graphic. I found some like Acropolis graphic, and then I added text boxes, made them vertical, and then I made the pillars there, and then I also added capitalism there. I don't know, I put a text box over something, so nothing but the best for you guys, okay? All right, so all joking aside, let's talk supply and demand. So first of all, what is supply and demand? Supply and demand is what determines what is made, okay? Smart capitalists recognize that there is demand for something, and what do? Oddly enough, they supply it. Maybe it should be called demand and supply instead of supply and demand, but either way, look, we usually call it supply and demand, okay? So you recognize there's an opportunity, there's a need for something in society, and as a result, a smart person who wants to make money goes, whoa, I can do that, and I can provide that. And then they provide what is in need, what is in want, and then they get paid for it, right? Pretty cool. Now, why is it important? Ultimately, guys, supply and demand is the mechanism within the capitalist system that determines the price of goods, right? And this basic idea of how prices are high or why prices are low is really, really important for you to understand here. So it works like this, okay? Pay attention. You paying attention? So high demand. So if something's in high demand and there's a low supply of it, the price is going to go up. Coming up here, there's the new Xbox that is coming out, and I believe it's going to be released around Christmas, lo and behold. And I'm willing to bet that the demand for it is going to cause the price of it to go up. And let's face it, as a new product, there's a very low supply of it, so that's going to cause the cost of it to go upwards. Now, alternatively, if something's in low demand and there happens to be a large supply of it, then the price, the value of that is going to go down, right? So for example, ShamWows. I hate to pick on the ShamWow or the Slap Shop, right? But yeah, guys, the ShamWow or the Slap Shot, they're not exactly perceived to be of the greatest quality. I know not of a single human being that actually owns one of them. The demand is very low, hence why you can go online and probably buy a ShamWow for $9.99, right? Whereas alternatively, there's other towels, unlike the ShamWow, called like the Mother Fluffer, or there's one called the Woolly Mammoth, and they're car drying towels, right? And they're like 50 bucks each. Why? Because they're good and they're in high demand. And every time they come into stock, places that sell them, they sell it very, very quickly because there's high demand. Okay, so guys, that's supply and demand. Make sure you understand that it's what sets pricing in the capitalist system. Okay, let's move on. Second pillar here, we have self-reliance. Okay, self-reliance, guys, we've sort of skimmed the surface of it before, but let's talk about it and add to your understanding here. So self-reliance within the capitalist system is the idea that nobody supports you except you, right? It's this idea that as a rational actor in the capitalist system, you have to walk on your own 2 feet, right? That's what you need to do. So where there's self-reliance in the capitalist system, there is no social safety net. So if you can't provide for yourself, you starve, right? Or at least you have a rough go at it. Maybe not starve. I mean, charity could fill the void in that case. But guys, there's no social or governmental mechanisms that step in and provide for you, right? And guys, why is it important in the capitalist system? It's important because it's what makes a capitalist, if that makes sense, right? It's why people in the capitalist system get up, get out of bed, and work. It provides you motivation. No one's going to feed you. No one's going to provide with clothing or shelter or any of those things. So as a result, you better be that kind of person in the capitalist system who gets up in the morning and is willing to work and work hard, to differentiate yourself, to give good product or service. And that will make you very successful, right? But no one's going to grant you success. It has to be earned, right? You rely upon yourself for that success. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about the third pillar here, consumer sovereignty. So what the heck, let me just move down. What is consumer sovereignty? So consumer sovereignty, guys, when a consumer is sovereign, it means that they have choice and autonomy. Okay, and autonomy means no one makes decisions for you. So and I just thought of a clip I'm going to include for you guys where Borat goes to a supermarket and he is baffled by the amount of choice that consumers have in cheese, right? In cheese. Anyways, so consumers have choice. Just get that into your brain. Now, why is that important? It's important, guys, because where consumers have choice, where we can choose to support, you know, Ford, GM, Fiat, what else? Dodge, General Motors, Chevrolet, whoever it happens to be, right? Where consumers have choice, they also have the power, right? We, the consumers, through our dollars, have the power in the capitalist system. And we, the consumers, we choose the winners or the losers in the capitalist system. Give an example. I don't know if you guys, I mean, you're definitely not old enough, but when the iPod first came out, it was a smash hit, right? Everyone loved it. Wow, like you had this thing that was like a screen and holy cow, a click wheel and all this stuff. Then Microsoft, being a competitor of Apple, came onto the market and they made this thing called the Zune, the Microsoft Zune. Google it, Z-U-N-E or Z, depending upon where you're watching this. But I'm Canadian, so we say Z. So Z-U-N-E, Microsoft Zune. And it sucked. It sucked. And as a result, it was just a ripoff and it was bad compared to the iPod in terms of the simplicity and the functionality of it. And consumers bought the iPod, but they didn't buy the Zune. Ultimately, the Zune lost. And what happened to it? It went the way of economic Darwinism. It went extinct because it was garbage. So we, the consumers, choose the winners and the losers. And it forces producers to listen to the consumer or else they go economically extinct. It's just that simple. So when you think about Apple as a company today in 2020, I mean, Apple is a $1 trillion company now, right? The first $1 trillion company. I don't know if there's any more, but I know for sure Apple is a $1 trillion company. Why? Because consumers have voted with their dollars, right? They have decided that that is where they're putting their money, and Apple wins as a result of it. Okay, let's keep going here. So the fourth pillar that we have of capitalism is this idea of private property. And we've sort of spoken about this already, right, when we looked at principles of individualism, but let's go over it again, specifically talking about capitalism. So private property, as you should know, is property that is owned by individuals and not the state. And the question is, Mr. Crosby, why is it important? Well, guys, again, private property is important because it gives you a couple of things. It gives you incentive, right? It gives you incentive to work hard. I love work, and you know why I love work? Because I love that paycheck at the end of the month, and I love that paycheck that allows me to buy the things that I want. Another rifle, a shotgun, new headphones, a big screen TV, groceries for my family, whatever it happens to be. So guys, private property is like this incentive mechanism. It rewards you for your hard work. It gives purpose to your toil, to the fact that you don't just stay at home and sit there and watch Dr. Phil all day, right? So private property is like a reward. And if you do it well, you'll accrue a lot of private property in the capitalist system. And if you don't, then you'll struggle and you won't have it. And lastly, guys, private property also gives you security, especially when we're talking about like where you live, your home. Your home is your home. It is your castle. And that gives you security. The fact that the state can't come and just take it away from you, that provides you with security knowing that, right? Okay, next pillar, competition. So what is it? Why is it important? Competition, folks, is where people within the same market attempt to attract consumers to their particular product or service, right? So two or more people in the same market are competing or vying for consumer dollars. Now, most importantly, why is competition important? Well, couple of reasons. Number one, competition, because people are competing for consumer dollars, it forces producers, it forces producers to do two things. Number one, products become cheaper. If there's two products, again, that are of identical quality, what's going to make you buy this one instead of this one? Well, if this one sold for $90 and this one sold for $100, you'd have to be a moron to buy this one right here, or not like money, or alternatively have a lot of it. But I mean, guys, I don't know anyone who doesn't like money. Money's great, right? So people are going to buy this one for $90 instead of $100. So that's one way that as a capitalist, you get people to be attracted to your product, right? Or service. And then the second thing that also happens is, okay, again, let's go back to producer one, producer two scenario, same market. So producer one sells their product or service for $90. Producer two now has responded and sells their product for $90. Well, what's going to make someone buy this one instead of this one? And the answer is, let's say this one has more features, right? Let's say it's, I don't know, like a new computer, right? They're both of the same cost. I know $90 would be a pretty cheap computer. Let's say it's a new pair of headphones, right? Same cost, but one appears to have more features. So that idea of more features, guys, what happens in the capitalist system is it forces innovation. Competition forces innovation, and it's a beautiful thing, right? It's a beautiful thing. Products get continually cheaper and of better quality and more innovative over time, because again, what's going to make you support one product over another? Better value, more features, right? It's just that simple. All right, let's keep moving here. Profit motive. What is it? So in the capitalist system, guys, profit motive is the recognition that capitalists do what they do to get paid and provide for themselves. And profit motive and self-interest kind of go hand in hand, right? You have to be motivated to make that profit, and you're motivated because you're self-interested in ensuring that you can provide for yourself. So it kind of is like two sides of the same coin. They go sort of hand in hand. So profit motive is the recognition that capitalists do what they do to get paid and provide for themselves. Now, why is it important? So profit motive is important because it forces people to work and work hard. Let's face it, guys. It's this force that forces people to work hard. Bills can't get paid from good wishes and lollipops. We need some form of value, and money is the way that we symbolize value in the year 2020, right? Until eventually all fiscal systems and fiat currencies go up in smoke, and then, I don't know, maybe we're going to start trading bottle caps like in the game Fallout. Big fan of the post-apocalyptic genre. So anyways, yeah, guys, profit motive is what gets your feet hitting the floor in the morning, in addition to self-interest, right? Like, it's what makes me work hard. And little known fact about me, but I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. I am a capitalist. Beyond being a teacher, I'm also a small business owner, right? And I provide a service for people that people like, people want, and as a result, I get paid to do it, and I enjoy it. And you know, I'm motivated to make money, right? And I help push the economy forward because of that profit motive, right? I provide a product or a service to someone, they pay me for it, we're both happy. Yay. Okay. Second last one, laissez-faire. You should be familiar with this term, right? You absolutely need to know what this term means. Laissez-faire means let it go, let it be, leave it alone. It basically means don't touch it, okay? Hands off, right? That's what it means. Now, so laissez-faire, guys, within the capitalist system is the idea of total hands-off, or of a total hands-off approach to the economy, right? Leave it alone. Now, why is it important? It's important because it forces the economy to naturally evolve and cater to consumer wants. And it keeps government's prying hands and dumb ideas, to be perfectly honest, at bay, right? As critical as we can be of capitalism at times, guys, there is no more efficient way to create wealth than through capitalism, right? There just really isn't. And when you compare a capitalist society or a society that embraces these pillars, right, these ideals, to a society that doesn't, like, I don't know, Venezuela, North Korea, right, or other communist nations, which one would you rather live in? In which country are the poor of that country less destitute? And yeah, there's poor people in the capitalist system, absolutely. But the poor in capitalist nations are less poor than the poor in communist nations. They just are, right? And as a result, guys, I mean, we see sort of this general rising of everyone because of the fact that it is a system that is self-regulated, right? There's no government regulation here. It regulates itself through all these different factors that we have: consumer sovereignty, profit motive competition, all these ideas. They all, I mean, they all work together. You can't have one in isolation, right? Okay. And then the last one, the invisible hand. And I left this one to the end because it's the one that students most get confused with. So let me tell you what the invisible hand is. I'll explain it, and then we'll talk about why it's important. So the invisible hand, guys, within the capitalist system is the unintended social benefit of individuals pursuing their self-interest. Okay, I'll say that again. The invisible hand within capitalism is the unintended social benefit of individuals pursuing self-interest. It's the unintended social benefit of people being greedy. Now, you might ask yourself, Mr. Crosby, how can greed actually have positive social benefits? Well, let me explain it to you, because that's my job. Okay, so guys, how can greed be good? All right, so again, I'm a greedy capitalist. I want to make more money, so I determine a product or service that other people will see value in. That product or service will be consumed by people if they think that it makes their lives better. They will pay me money for that product or service because it gives them value. Now, in return, I get something of value back, and that is money. And if we multiply this idea millions of times a day, right, where there's this exchange of value for value, right, you get product or service, you give money up for that product or service, guys, if you multiply this over and over and over again in society, theoretically there will be no wants or no needs in terms of consumers in that society, because where there's an opportunity to make money, smart people will recognize that and they will provide the product or service. So in society, everything's taken care of by the invisible hand because it's just what happens in the system, right? So because you're greedy and want to get paid, you unintentionally make society better and fulfill the needs and wants of other people. And capitalism is the only system that actually cares about what you need or what you want, right? Needs are fulfilled by both socialist and also capitalist systems, but what about want? I don't need a 65-inch, 75-inch 4K Sony Android TV, but I got one and it's awesome, right? There's really not a lot that we need. I hate when people talk about need as the sort of benchmark for what goes on in society. theoretically speaking, we really just need food, clothing, and shelter at a very minimal level, right? You don't need McDonald's, Burger King, Popeyes, Boston Pizza, where else? Blaze Pizza, Northern Chicken. You don't need that, but you want it. And that's what makes the capitalist system awesome, right? Anyways, why is it important? It's important because it's the corrective force within the market that keeps it functioning without the intrusive hand of government. I mentioned this before, I think in another video, but guys, look, let's face it, governments are usually pretty dumb, right? They're usually pretty dumb, and they can never predict what is needed or wanted in society. And the best way to do that is to just listen to the market, to let rational actors in the capitalist system respond to the demand or the perceived demand or the hopeful demand that they think exists in that society. If they do that, they're going to win. And again, according to the invisible hand, we all win because of it, right? Jobs are created, needs and wants are provided for. It provides individuals with satisfaction, right? It's an awesome thing. Okay, I'm so sorry. I totally lied to you. I was going to try to keep this under 20 minutes. Here I am looking at the clock in my bottom left-hand corner saying it's 21:07, 08, 09. I'm a terrible, terrible human being, but I do it because I love you guys. I want to make sure that you understand these concepts so you can be successful, right? That is me looking at you through that heart right there. Okay, anyways, guys, that is that. I'm going to put a video underneath about capitalism called You Love Capitalism from the illustrious Prager University, which, by the way, is not a university, but it's a really good video. So you should watch it. And it's going to try to convince you that you love capitalism. And then I'm going to have a Ben Shapiro video about capitalism underneath that as well. You know what? I'll put them on the same page. And then I'm going to have a video about when capitalism sort of became derailed. And we'll look at the Industrial Revolution. We have to understand the Industrial Revolution and how terrible it was, embracing classical liberal laissez-faire, in order to understand why socialism and communism become viable ideological alternatives for us. Wow. Okay, another minute gone. Okay, I love you guys as always. Peace, and we'll check you in the next video.